Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. We're going to stay in town right now. Mikhail Murshak is joining us. He's a senior attorney with Foster Swift, Collins, and Smith, and they have 6 branches all across Michigan. He is an adjunct professor at, I believe, MSU. It could be at Cooley. Oh, MSU. Okay. And a whole bunch of things, as a matter of fact. And so, Mikhail, let's talk a little bit today about your focus, because you are reasonably recent with Foster Swift.
Yeah, so I've been in practice for 20 years, but my entire career has been focused on intellectual property, which is a broad umbrella term that covers patents and trademarks, also copyrights and trade secrets. But I try to take a holistic view. I work with a lot of startups and try to make sure everything we're doing is tied towards improving or enhancing or supporting their ultimate business goals, which could be patents, it could be trade secrets, it could be trying to help them file some copyrights so they're protected on works of authorship, et cetera. So that's kind of my approach, what my approach has been.
Well, and that's an area of expertise you brought to Foster Swift, which they didn't have before that. Which has been an incredible enhancement for them. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges for business with patents these days.
Boy, that's a real complicated question, but so
we've only got 2 hours left, Mikhail.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so I've rushed through. Here's the patents 101. So patents are tied to inventions only, unlike other areas of intellectual property. If you invent something, you have to proactively pursue it with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. There's no state law that covers patents. It's all federal. And so if your company has some sort of proprietary technology that they invent and they want to obtain some level of protection, and it's an exclusive right, they have to actually file a patent application. They can't create a widget and then sell it for a year or two and then say, hey, this is doing really well, it's protected as a patent. At that point, you have lost your rights to any level of protection. So a lot of times, I mean, kind of like the old days when they talked about voting, you know, you want to file early and often if you can. But what the real challenge comes in, especially for startups, not everybody's GE and IBM and General Motors with the massive patent budget and portfolio. If you're a startup, you have to decide, well, are we going to spend this money on more pens and notepads? Are we going to spend this money on marketing and advertising? Are we going to spend it on pursuing intellectual property? Are we going to spend it on our accountants? So resources become a challenge for startup businesses. And there's luckily in Lansing and all over the state of Michigan, there are business accelerator funding resources. There's these smart zones. The governor has, I believe, allocated a ton of money for MEDC to get out there and promote startups and new businesses. And those businesses should do an intellectual property review early and often. Now, you could come to me and say, hey, we started this business. Is there anything I should be concerned about? And I may say, no, you know, nothing you're doing is patent eligible, but maybe there's a trademark concern, or maybe there's a way that you guys need to create your employment contracts to protect any kind of trade secrets or specific information that's proprietary to you. And so those are some of the things. I know that it's expensive and hard to hire lawyers and accountants, but it's probably some of the best money spent if you do it on the front end in protecting your future opportunities.
Well, it keeps you from losing a lot down the road, as you say. So speaking of patents, this is kind of interesting. Detroit has its own office for that, and trademarks. What's that about?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So up until 2013, there was only one U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And technically, that's still the headquarters out in Alexandria, Virginia. But I think they made a decision for lots of reasons under the, I forgot the name of the act, but they had this sweeping change of the patent system, which included changing us from first to invent to first to file. And in addition to that, they added satellite offices. And the very first satellite office was based in Detroit. And that's the Elijah McCoy patent office, which is based on the real McCoy, the steam engine lubricant that was used, that trains used to stop in a steam engine. Anyway, so Detroit became the first satellite office. So now if you are a patent examiner or a patent judge or you get a job at the U.S. Patent Office, you can work out of the Detroit office. And a lot of these patent examiners are now hoteling, and that's what they say. Hoteling is essentially working remote. So the U.S. Patent Trademark Office was ahead of the curve on that one. They've had their examiners working remote for a very long time. I think you have to be there a year and a half or 2 years before you're allowed to do that. But the Detroit office was first. Now they have one in San Jose, California, Dallas, and Denver, Colorado. And what that helps with is honestly is retention. Because before, a guy like me with an engineering degree may not want to move to Alexandria, Virginia, or DC, as fun and great of an area it is. It's expensive. I have to leave my family and leave where my home is. But now they have these offices all over the country, so it makes it them more capable of being able to hire people.
Well, that clarifies a great deal. I always wondered why Detroit felt it necessary to have their own, but that was merely a matter of efficiency. So thanks for that.
If you think about the regional offices, it seems like they're targeting, even though it's not necessarily accurate, technology areas. So automotive, software, oil, whatever.
Well, and you got the auto industry here, and like you said, they come forward
exactly.
with a great deal of patents. Mikhail Murshak, senior attorney with Foster Swift Collins and Smith, serving 6 different branches across the state of Michigan. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We appreciate you clearing a lot of stuff up. And you have all been watching this on the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be back with more.